Hi, let us talk about VPC Service Controls in Google Cloud Platform. I will talk about what it is, discuss few use cases, and actually show you in a detailed demo the implementation part. You can follow this video to implement VPC Service Controls in your environment too. Let's get started. My name is Jitendra Jain and I'm a cloud technical trainer at Google. And of course, needless to say that if you like this video, do share this with your friends, like and subscribe this channel. Okay, so the question is, what is VPC service controls and why do you need it? Have you come across news such as this that hey, 100 million credit card and debit card holders data was available on dark web? Somebody was selling this for a few $100s. I'm sure you must have come across such news items on a very recurring basis. It is very frequently that you hear about such news, right? But the bigger question is, do you know why did this happen? Do you know how can we avoid this? And the bigger question is, even if I have lost my credentials, or even if there is a malicious piece of code which is running inside my environment, it possibly has access to my data. This malicious piece of code can read my data and now possibly can write outside. We do call this as data exfiltration. And now we will talk about how do you use VPC service controls to mitigate the risk of data exfiltration. You do not want this unauthorized copy of data from your environment to the outside world, even if passwords are lost, even if somebody has unauthorized access in your environment. So these are the two diagrams that I would like to discuss with you, and then we will get into a demonstration here. On the left hand side, if you see, what I am presenting to you is a service perimeter. I hope you already know about Google Cloud Platform and you know that a project is required at minimum for you to get started. So you need a project and you will go and configure your services. What kind of services? Possibly a virtual machine, possibly a database, possibly a GCS bucket, which is Google Cloud Storage Services bucket, which holds your object storage or object data, right? Now, imagine somebody has access to the password of this virtual machine, which is able to read and write from this GCS bucket or from a database service. Or a malicious piece of code is running inside this virtual machine, which can actually read the data from this Google Cloud Storage bucket and then possibly could write it outside to a destination that you definitely want to avoid. You do not want to let that happen because it is a business critical data. It is possibly confidential data. It is PII data, which is personally identifiable information, right? So what do? You create a perimeter and then you define what comes inside that perimeter. You define a project that will be safeguarded against data exfiltration risk that you include inside this perimeter. You also include all the database services, all the Google Cloud APIs and services that you would like to protect against, right? So you define a perimeter, you put everything inside that perimeter, and then nobody would be able to, so say this application which is running inside this VM will only be able to read and write data only within the perimeter, but not able to copy the data outside the perimeter. But then is it not too complicated if you need some kind of flexibility for a specific application to let it read the data coming from outside the perimeter? Is it possible? So yes, we can define, configure ingress rules and egress rules, which will let you define who can read this data from outside. And you can define all the combinations in terms of, hey, which IP address this request will come from. What kind of device? Is this a authorized device? This all is possible when you start using another service such as Context Manager or Access Context Manager in Google Cloud Platform. So with this, you will define ingress rules and egress rules for external communication to happen across the perimeter. On the right hand side, if you see, you could be thinking about hybrid cloud or even a multi-cloud approach. In a hybrid cloud scenario, you are running certain systems in on-prem data center. And then this on-prem data center is connected to Google Cloud Platform via a private fiber cable, such as either using Direct Connect or using Partner Connect. Right now, you would like to include the resources which are running in on-prem data center within the perimeter. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. Right. So the diagram that you see here on the right hand side actually talks about how is that possible. Right. So this is a conceptual view of what is VPC service controls and what is that most important use case that we are trying to address here. Okay. Right. Now, these are the set of steps that you will have to execute to implement VPC service controls. These are set of 6 steps. I do not want to read these out. Pause this video and then read all the 6 steps carefully for you to understand what are we going to do here. But rather what I will do is I will actually jump onto a demonstration here, and then we will actually see all of these steps in action. And that is how we will improve our understanding of VPC service controls.